Welcome to Om Times TV, a division of Om Times Media and Broadcasting. Welcome to Adventures in Consciousness, the interactive show that offers expansive conversation with pioneering new thought teachers and personal real-time guided journeys into the imaginal realm to access your soul's wisdom and discover how to live your greater story. Here is your host, human potentialist, soul mentor, and consciousness guide, Jennifer Ivanko.
Hello and welcome everyone. Welcome to another Adventures in Consciousness, the conversation. Today's guest is author, researcher, teacher, and master NLP practitioner, Elefantina Genziana. Before we begin, I'd like to share with you just a little bit about our guest. Elefantina graduated from the University of Turin in Italy and became a teacher and a trainer in the fields of spiritual healing and self-knowledge at the School of Medit-Action and at Damanhur University. For 33 years, she worked alongside Falco Tarasico, founder, artist, and spiritual guide of Damanhur, and she was able to hone her skills and become an expert in the disciplines related to human potential. Her personal research and specialization is with inner personalities, while at the same time she continues to develop her knowledge and communication and hypnosis. She is chief editor of QDQ, the daily newspaper at Damanhur, and has published 13 books, including a number of volumes on hypnosis, and now her latest book, Inner Personalities. Over the years, her research and studies and publications in the fields of human relations have helped hundreds of people to discover the most beautiful parts of themselves. Elefantina, welcome to the conversation.
Hello, nice to meet with you.
It's wonderful. I want to have to apologize that my Italian is not very good, and Elefantina learned English. She speaks more than one language, and I'm always impressed with people that can speak more than one language. And I want to thank you for being here with us.
We try. Thank you.
We try. It's going to be wonderful. So you began. I want to start with Damanhur for just a little bit. You moved there in 1980s after college. Can you tell me a little bit about what Damanhur is and why you are there?
Yes, I was. It was not after college. I was still in the university, and I was called because I was researching about spiritual life, about natural medicines, and I was really attracted for what was really unusual, and was not so usual. Also in Italy, many people were really didn't like this kind of life. So I was with a friend of mine. We were two students that were attracted with the same research. So when one was finding something interesting, called the other one. And so we started this. One day he phoned me and he said to me, "You have to come with me. There is a conference, very interesting. And there is one man who is Roberto Iraudi," that was the name of Falco Tarasico. And so we started there. And then I started, and it was 1979. I was very young. And then I really started my meditation path, and all the teachment of Falco. I never lose one of them. And then I started to live in the community, really living inside in 1983. And I am still here with the same enthusiasm.
So tell me, what is Damanhur for those of people that don't know what it is?
Damanhur is now all over the world with different centers and starting communities, but the basic point, the central point, the first point was here, just here in Piedmont, in Italy, and also in many different cities in Italy. Then started also spread all over Europe and the world. So we have centers also in USA, in Japan, in many places in the world. And what is a way to live a conscious life, to experiment, to research what we believe, what we feel is good, a new way to live the society as a human being, and to experiment by ourselves with other people who share the same feelings, the same aims. So Damanhur has developed an independent university founded over 40 years ago, and just to share all the knowledge we have, and is a continuous laboratory of research and of training, of experimenting what we believe in all the things of the life. So we live together to live our knowledge, to experiment in everyday life, in everything of the life. So it's really a research, and is a way to live together, a community system in different ways, is a way to evolve and to awake our soul, and to discover human potential, and to share also to the others. Is a school of life.
That's beautiful. I found Damanhur about 10 years ago when I was traveling with my mentor, Jean Houston, who's one of the pioneers in human potential. And when I first came to Damanhur, there was that sense of you living that knowledge. And that was my first experience of everything that we research in the States, or in anybody that's interested in spirituality and in these topics, to be surrounded by people that are all researching and living that. It was quite a eye-opener for me, and a unique experience to be there. So, and I wanted to point out to our audience that it's been around for about 40 years, over 40 years now, I guess, and that it's known as the Laboratory for the Future of Humankind, with all the research it does in consciousness.
Exactly. Yes.
Beautiful.
Yes. Damanhur started in 1975, and started the living community in 1980, just when I arrived. Yes.
So when you arrived, again, what I think people are drawn to Damanhur, part of it is that idea of personal research, of being able to really go in deep on some topics. And yours, from what you've written, is about human potential and things related to human potential, and in particular interpersonalities.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about this concept of interpersonalities, what it is? And
yes, it is. In simple way, it is that each of us is a complex system of thoughts, ideas, dreams, desires, way to live, logics. So we have to discover that we, inside of us, we are not only one, just me, but we are a group of people, a group of characters that we call personalities, inner personalities. And we suppose that nature is a fragmented part of in the matters of the consciousness, of the spiritual part. And so this idea that is basic for us is a way to extend this consciousness in the through the space-time, and entering in the matter with a divine spark that is in each one of us. So this way to put together all the parts in a universal consciousness needs to understand that each one is important, and each one is a little part, a little piece of a big mosaic. And also inside ourselves, because there are fractal theories, so everything in the big and in the little is the same. So we have the same. We have a lot of parts all inside our soul, and so inside our everyday life. And we believe that universal consciousness creates multiply individual centers of living, and different parts, because we need to put all together to reach the one of light, of the conscious, of the soul, of the great soul. So we need to discover all the different parts, and we believe a lot the richness of diversity in the world, in the planet, outside the planet, and also inside human beings. So different cultures, different places, different people, and also inside ourselves. So each one is really, really precious, and we have the opportunity to live in one life simultaneously, the different living together. So we are distinct personalities together, and we have to enlarge our sense of identity. This is.
So this is interesting. So you're talking about the outside of us, the groups of people that we're around, and the diversity outside of us. But then in interpersonalities inside of us, we have this crew, these different personalities inside of us. And
Yes.
you're saying to get to know these, it's very important. Just like if we're trying to work in a group of people outside, we have to understand the people we're working with. You need to work and understand the people inside, or the personalities inside.
Yes. The crew is exactly example. So it is like we have a group of different characters inside of us, and often it happens, I suppose everyone has experimented that they can be in conflict one another, and also antithetical sometimes. They need to know how and when the other are important, the other pieces inside of us, the other. So there are several people, but each one is important because we are a group and we need to work as a group. So to distinguish the different precious talents of each part and to put together to live in a great life in which we can use all the talents we have from when we born. So it's a way to enlarge our way to live the reality in every day, and to live all the parts, also to show themselves and to be on the stage in different moments of the life. So it is really our nature of human beings to be multiforms and to be composed of different personalities, different potential. We have a huge potential and a great asset to have so many different parts. So we are used in Western culture to think about me. I am, to have a big individuality. So from Illuminism is very, very strong this way to think about us, and also to wanted to impose ourselves to someone else. But if we look inside ourselves, we can see that also inside we have a conversation always that form a basic of our most behaviors and choices. So we have voices that say different things, that call us, that say they fight, they judge one another, and they sometimes create tension also inside of us and with other people. So as inside of us, also inside the others, we have always different people who arrive. So we have to manage them, to discover, to know who is inside our group, which kind of talents we have and resources, because it's really a great resource. Usually we say that we are used to think that there are psychological problems, schizophrenia, if we have different voices, so we don't want to share and don't want to show. But really, everybody has. So we can also say that all of us has this disease, because it's not the disease, it's the reality we have every day. So it's really not a problem, not a sickness, but is something that is a great power we have, because we can have more and more different point of view that help us to choose in the better way. Is like we have a group of people in which each one can say about his specialization, the point of view he has about the choice we have to do. So if we listen to all the voices, we can have really a great choice in our life, and never say that is someone outside of us that decided for us, but we decided together.
Yeah, in human potential, this is a important perception that it's not schizophrenia or a disease. It's or multiple personality disorder. It's we call it polyphrenia. That it's
yes
to
yes
connect with all this. And I like that idea of listening to this conversation. Sometimes we don't pay much attention to the conversation that's going on inside. Instead, the dominant or part of us will suppress some of the conversation so that it can get its point out. And you talk about conflict, how that can.
See, yes, I want also to mention another thing that is in recent time, really recent, many studies in psychology discovered that we have really different voices inside of us, but they usually always suppose that is an extraordinary event and not usual. While we say that in a spiritual sense, a spiritual way is a normal way to be, we have to discover. And there is a new, the DID, that is dissociative identity disorder, that was discovered not many years ago, I suppose in 2015 in Germany, and then also studied that there were people with had different voices in different moments. So they were not conscious and of what they had done in different moments, because really they didn't remember. They was not the same person, and one was also
speaking in actual different voices, so they sounded
different voices and with different way to action, different voices, but also, and what science is not able to explain is how, for instance, they can speak with different also languages that they don't know, they didn't study, but different characters inside can know and can speak and have talents that the people never studied. And also there was one woman who was in one personality she was told that she was blind, and while they tried to put the exams of the tracing of the electricity of the brain, they discovered that while she was in that voice, in that character, she really didn't have activated the function of the view in the brain.
Wow.
So the really was not something that was just an idea, but was really completely did by the body. This is very, very important for us also, because we say, maybe later we can explain better, that they are strictly connected, the inner personalities, with the body and with all the function we have in our body. So also now I have just discovered that another one young boy, always in German, was but just 1 month ago or less, in May, maybe 15 days ago, another young boy, maybe in German there are more, that has 10 personalities, different personalities, and he's 22. And he also described all of them, and he wants to speak about this new sickness, he says. And so there is also new way to social system to help this kind of people that are now more, because we started to study them. So, but is nice because when something is discovering, we have more and more scientists that discover also the same. So, but I wanted to say that it's also in science always discover what in ancient traditions was for knowledge. So multiply personalities and voices inside of us are really something that is not just a pathology, but is just something that always it happens inside each one of us. And I'm sure that you, like me, has this experience. When I want to say why I arrived to this, because for me it was really, really important to discover what happened and why it happened. That sometimes I would like to answer, to react in some way, and I react really in another way. So it was really my problem. I wanted to investigate and to discover what it was. And so when Falco in 1996 started to speak about inner personalities, I was really amazed. I was passionate immediately about that because he was answering about that. So that the peculiarity is that we have also a reason about what is happening, and there is the way to manage them. If you know the parts you have inside of you, you can manage them. So it happens that sometimes you would like to have a behavior. Maybe you want to conquer someone, or you want to be very, very nice with someone you like, or you think is important for your work or for other things. But some part of you arrives and do what wants, and you wanted to do the same. And then you have another voice that say, you have done again, you are guilty, and so on. So you have always inside your head or your heart, you have always different voices that judge and say, it's good, it's not good, what have you done, you have to do this, you are guilty, and so on. So it's usual for each one of us. And the most important thing I would like to suggest to each one of us is never judge. Just take time and also joyful way to discover all the parts you have inside, and to discover why they are acting like that, because there is a reason always.
It's, that idea of observing rather than judging, and being in a playful way. When you observe, you can engage these other parts of yourself rather than judging and putting them down, I would think. I personally know that experience of when you I think we all can relate to wanting to do something at one point, like a relationship or some situation, and then something, it feels like almost like we've sabotaged it. Something else comes in and we're a totally different person than we wanted to be when it happened, during the event. And so that, I'm fascinated by the idea that we can have these gifts and talents inside of us that we can access in these other personalities, that maybe the disorder is the lack of communication between our different personalities, and not the fact that we have these different characters, these different personalities, to be able to know a different language,
Yes, they have also body language different. If you look at you in the mirror, yes, they are really. You change face, you change your way to speak, you change the gesture, you change everything. And also you change, for instance, the apparent how you face to the other, how you like to dress, and also maybe the movie, the films you would like to see, or the books you would like to read. And also it's really nice to discover how you change the calligraphy while you are writing of course, by hand, you can discover how it is changing. And it is because each personality has a different way to write and a different way to do everything. So you can also start to look at you while you are in front of a mirror and discover who I am now, what I represent now, what I can find in the mirror, just if it is not you, just discovering for the first time and in a funny and joyful way, and to discover as a researcher of yourself. So to look at you and say, oh, but this it seems a teenager, 15 years old, and he looks like a man, a young man, not so. And how it looks maybe a little bit not able to work. He looks like he wanted to have a party or to have a running with a bike. And maybe it's important to know and to understand that you have different parts. So to discover different characters and discovering, just observing you, and really, I recommend, please never judge. Never judge yourself, but just understand what is happening. Just take care of what they need, what they are asking to you, why they are exiting just now, immediately maybe, and maybe they are changing the plan you had before, because they want to say something. They want to act and to be recognized for what they are. So it's very, very important to discover the group you have, because it's a big team, it's a great team. They are the team that are for you the way to reach the evolution in your life, to reach the enlightenment, if you use all together in a balanced way, in a harmonizing all of them. And it is possible only if you use love with one and the other parts. And the same is with the other people, the other person, because each one has the same. So like me, also the other has. And this is very, very important when you are in a conversation or dialogue or everything with other people. That happens many, many times, that we have the same way to act and react. And sometimes we can, before, just preview the words, the way to say what the other has to answer, and you answer again, because it's always the same film that you reproduce again and again, because are the same personalities that are talking one another. But if you try to change your part, you're sure that also the other one will change his own, because we'll be surprised. It's not the normal film, so you can change what will happen later.
I want to clarify that just a little. So we're talking about, because I love this, and we'll talk more about it after the break, but I wanted to just be clear that we're talking about when you're speaking to another person, that a different personality, a different character can be actually speaking, and that other person you're talking to has their characters and it's like this whole group here, one is choosing to talk to that whole group there out of that personality. And
exactly.
And I'd really like to talk more about that when we come back from our break.
Okay.
Thank you. We'll be right back.
Real Conscious Connection. Om Times Radio. IOM FM. Om Times Magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. Om Times, co-creating a more conscious lifestyle.
Hello, I'm Sandy Sedgbeer, host of Om Times Magazine's flagship radio show, What is Going Om. My passion is sifting through information, research and innovations from new thought teachers, speakers and researchers, pushing back the boundaries of what we know about life, energy, metaphysics and the universe. I love shifting perceptions about who we are, why we're here, and how quickly impossible becomes normal when we open our minds, expand our awareness, and accept that the only limits that exist are those we place upon ourselves. So if you're the kind of forward-thinking, eager investigator of what lies beyond the current reality that most perceive, why not make a date to come play with me in the field of possibilities at 4 p.m. Pacific Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time every Thursday, and together we can discover what's really going on.
There is no greater mystery in life than you. So why not take a fully experiential plunge into the depths of your being to uncover and retrieve all the secrets and wisdom your soul is crying out for you to know? If you enjoy Adventures in Consciousness, the conversation, you'll love Adventures in Consciousness, the course. Join Jennifer in this unique 13-week series of journeys specifically designed to unlock the mysteries of yourself. Each week, you'll journey progressively deeper into the meta realm, where, freed from the limitations of your mind, you'll get to play and explore the inner and outer reaches of your awareness. The next series of Adventures in Consciousness, the course, is starting soon. Find out more and stake your place at jenniferivanco.com.
There was an old woman who lived in a shoe. She had so many children she didn't know what to do. She gave them some broth without any bread and kissed them all soundly.
Lights out. Good night.
And put them to bed. Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org.
So welcome back. You're listening to Adventures in Consciousness, the conversation with my guest, Elefantina Genziana. And we were just talking about the inner crew, the multiple personalities that we have inside of us and how they actually interact with other people outside of us. And had to interrupt it for just a moment. So let's go back to that conversation.
Yes, please. Yes, the reason of this behavior is that we must always deal with automatism we have. And so we repeat always mechanically actions and behaviors and answers and way to be and to act and to react. And because we repeat with the same character, with the same personality. And this is because it is that each one of our personality is connected with our memories, what happened before. So reuse the same memory that has, that our brain is used to use the less energy that is possible. So repeat the same action because was just known. And so is a way that was starting for the ancient time, we needed to have for survival the quick way to exit from a situation. So repeating the same, but now with different I want to say civilization also, if I am not sure that was like this. So little by little we change and we use also other emotions and then also the analytic way to act. But sometimes also if we would like to use what we think that is the best way, we react with automatism that are useful for speeding up the processes and the responses, but in many cases in our everyday life are enslaving way to be. So we became slaves of ourselves. So instead of living life as a protagonist and deciding what you want to do, really we are guided by something that we don't want to do. We don't want to be. We don't choose, but we do. is the same way every time. So we debate, we argue with people, we fight with people, we fight with ourselves. And that is because we are not aware of what is happening. So we don't think enough about what the consequences of what we are doing. We don't have the time to stop and to decide what really we want to realize, we want to be, to cause, but becomes like a chain. So every behavior repeated became a chain in which we are slaves. And so we can discover this. If we discover the mechanism, if we observe what is happening without judging, but we observe and we laugh about what is happening again happens. What is happening? What caused this? Which kind of behavior someone else is causing inside me? But remember that always we have the full responsibility of what we are doing. We cannot say is someone else who make me doing it like that. It's us a responsibility.
Owning
We
all
have
of itself. Yeah.
always our responsibility. So we have to understand how we are reacting in this way, how we can change, and how choose what we really want to be. So maybe there is simple things, the nuance of the voice in someone, that create anxiety or make us being anxious or nervous or more relaxed. Everything can happen around us, from other people, from the environment, from everything, and we always react without thinking. So we have to understand how this is calling some feelings inside of us and calling some reaction. We are used to justify ourselves, saying, that is how I am, but it's not to justify. We have to manage how we are, and we can learn to do that. We can learn to manage our being and to learn which kind of characters we have, why they are playing that show in that moment. So the only solution is to educate ourselves. We cannot ask to the other to change, but we have to educate ourselves, our identity, our automatism and behaviors, to distinguish and to do in the direction we decide to do. So to become aware in order to choose a new path we want to realize. So we have to preview and realize what we want to realize. This is evolution way to live, and not just to be like animals that react to what is happening outside. We have to be able to distinguish and decide, and also be able to recognize that we can do mistakes. It's normal. It's normal. There are errors. Okay, we can learn from errors. It's never to judge. It's never to judge, and never to judge that someone is, you are bad. No, maybe you can say, your behavior in this case, I don't like. It's very different. And also my behavior in this case, I don't like, but it's not all the system that is bad. It's never to judge the system, but to understand and to have experience of what is happening, to change, to have the opportunity to evolve inside with the other characters inside of us and with the other people. So remember that always what is happening is expressing some needs, and also is expressing some memory we had. We don't remember, but it is like is something that is anchored inside of us. So it's not a fault. It's not to be punished, but is a need to be understood and changed.
Beautiful. So it's interesting because you think of being triggered, these memories being triggered, and now we have this other layer of understanding that it's not only triggering you, but it's actually triggering different personalities to come forward and react. And when we are unaware, we get stuck in those habits, in those ways of reacting. They talk about the only way to evolve or to get what you want is to have that pause between a desire and an action. We tend to, an action and a result. We tend to be triggered and then we react, but we don't pause for a moment to consider what it is that we're reacting to take a moment and see who's reacting, who is present in that moment, and why am I reacting to that person who is present there. So
Yes, exactly.
Beautiful.
So always about you, so about ourselves, always saying who I am now, why I'm doing like this. And so remembering that reaction always originates from what we have experienced in some way before. So that personality has the experience before, so has learned something before. So we have to understand this. This is a way to change that. And also we have to remember that always what happened is not objective. It's not the real. It's not the real. Is the map is not the territory, you know. So it's not, the behaviors are always behaviors, and is something that is in our perception. The important thing is how we react in our perception. Is not that something is really happening. So the filter we use are the personalities that colors what the events and everything around us and inside of us. So when you say, I don't know if you use also in USA, but in Italy we use a lot the lentis. We say we see with pink, red, pink lentis or black lentis. So it's the same. It's expressing very, very well the different personalities. So the things outside could be the same. If you are falling in love, you see everything well, soft, joyful. And if you are very anxious for some problems and troubles, you see everything black. But it's the same. It's not around of you that is changing, it's inside of you. So we have the ability, we can use the ability to look for the parts we like and we need that make the life joyful and lighter, because it's the same. We can use different parts to live our life in a good way or in a bad way. It's a choice.
So choosing different personalities is like choosing different lenses to look through and experience what you. Beautiful.
Exactly. And also, so we can also have some way to discover how to do it in a very simple way in everyday life. We can look at us and discover that, for instance, we can like some food in some moments and in other moments not, or we dress with some colors, with some particular personality, and we use other, or we feel well in some dresses and clothes, and in other moments we don't feel, because are different personalities. So also to recall a personality, you can just put the dress, have a shower and put the dress that is the dress that the other personality can like. Maybe it changed something. Move, go outside, take your time, 5 minutes running and changing movement, moving your body, because the personalities are inside our bodies. So move, change completely what you are doing just for few minutes, and then you can change your personality, and then you can start again to do the things.
I think that's very important to point out, because the different personalities move differently or dress differently. And you're giving us an example of how to recall these personalities just by getting in a different, so almost getting to know these different personalities would be important, so we could start recalling the ones we want. You do a lot of exercises in your book in
Yes.
in personalities. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yes, in the book, in every chapter, I put you the exercises to understand how it is in a practical way you can apply what I share with the others. And it is really, the first thing is always to observe how do you feel, how I am, how I look in the mirror, how I feel in myself, which kind of gesture I'm doing, everything. So observe from outside how I am now in the moment in which I like myself or not, because I have to discover. You can see also that usually what we hate in other people is something we have also inside ourselves. So look at this with a new curiosity. So maybe someone is doing something you don't like, and just go outside and suppose that maybe you are doing the same in other moments, and look at that. Maybe you can change your behavior because you can see what is happening, what you see in other, the behavior you don't like to have. So is why you judge them, because you are judging yourself, but you maybe don't realize that you are doing that. So maybe you can discover, looking, just observing without judging, but always write down what you discover, because you can use in different moments. And always you can have a really different exercise to discover who you are and what you want to recall, just doing what you like. So you can, because our personalities, the basic personalities, because there are different categories, but the basic, there are at least 5 personalities that every day are turning in our guiding ourselves.
5.
5.
Yeah.
Every day we have at least 5 personalities that are turning. So if you look at you in the different moments in your life, look at you means also if you can look at in the mirror, observing what is happening. How do you feel in your body, in your emotions? What you would like to do if it was possible, and how do you? And you just write down. You can discover different personalities. Some of them are in the current moment. Some of them maybe not. So you can start to know the group that is inside of you. So it's like discovering a new group of people who has to work together. So you have to discover who they are, what they like, what they are able to do, the talents, their problems. So you can ask them to appear when you need for the correct moment. So not only to be slave of them, but just to ask to become friends of them. So could be really a new way with an innovative point of view that differs from the basic view of psychological theories that consider a disease. Is really richness to have many different parts, because we can have many talents. We can use many different possibilities. For instance, sometimes we need the researcher or the scientist, the logic people, but sometimes we need a very soft, embracing, generous people, or we need someone who is joyful and playing and with light and able to smile and to laugh about everything. So we can need all the parts, adults, young, child, or old people. They are all precious. It's really precious.
Wow. So I want to mention again, you have a new book called Inner Personalities, and you can, it's available on Amazon. I'll also have it on my website where you can get a hold of it. But I really love that there's a lot of research, but there's a lot of courses that offered at Damanhur that, and you yourself teach about interpersonalities and how to
Yes.
connect with these.
There are, yes, if you go in, I suppose you can also share the university, Damanhur University references. So I teach this. Yes, I have also individual sessions, and I am finishing that second book about personalities. That is yes, because the first was about inner personalities. The second is inner personalities in different groups. So managing one with the other outside of us. The first was inside of us, and then will be another one. And so yes, it's possible always to share. The courses are more different kind of joyful way to discover all the different parts we have inside of us with other people. So it's very dynamic, also with theory, because there is a big theory that, of course, now I didn't have time enough to share and to explain. But there is a big theory that also explains why we are like this, what is happening, why in the evolution system of the universe we are in this way. So it's a really a spiritual path that explain also in time life what is happening. And so it's very, very practical. All the courses in Damanhur are very, very practical, because it's a way to act what we say as we do in our everyday life. So to act, to experiment. And so it's joyful. It's also very, very, very funny. It's also possible. We have also online for now. I have only done it in Italian, but we can translate. There are webinars and so on. And we can also organize in different places in the world.
So if you're interested in learning more about that, you can reach out to me at jenniferivanco.com, or you can, Elefantina's email address is elefantina@damanhur, DAMANHUR.org. Also, I wanted to go back one thing. You'd mentioned about how we often can look at somebody else and not like a certain behavior. We could judge it and say, oh, I don't like, and how that is really a reflection of what we have inside of us. And it just hit me that the personality that is not liking that might be the personality that doesn't do that, but then that means another personality. So of course, in that moment, we're judging and saying, I don't like that, because we feel like we don't do that, even though we hear this thing, oh, it probably is inside of us. But that makes sense now that another personality would be doing that.
Because it's a complex system. Yes, yeah. It's a complex system, because there are different voices and different parts inside of us that love each other or hate each other. So we have to create a group in which everyone of the characters, of the personalities, learn the others, and so learn how to appreciate the others and to understand when one is useful and when one is not useful. So to call the correct one when we need, and not in the opposite way. For example, if one could be a great professor and scientist and inside of us, another one is a great cook. Of course, it must be the perfect moment, because if you exchange them, they are both very important, but in the correct moment, if they appear in the different moment, they are really an obstacle for us. So it could be funny if they have humor, but could be very terrific if you use in a different way. So we have to distinguish what we have.
And what a beautiful talent to be able to have that professor come out when you need to speak, and to be able to not be sabotaged by the cook popping in. Yeah, beautiful. So there's a lot. We could go so deep in this conversation. I really appreciate your time, Elefantina. And I look forward to maybe having you back when the second book is ready as well. So I appreciate your time. And thank you so much for joining us. I want to mention next episode, we are going to have our experiential journey, and we would play with inner personalities a little bit in the experience. We'll take a journey into the inner realms of our personalities. So please join me on our next episode. And until then, have a beautiful day. Thank you.
Thank you.